Sky News understands the missiles are already inside Ukraine. But talk to me about the timing of the actual announcement in the House of Commons.
It was an interesting announcement also because it sounded like it was the start of something, but actually it was the end of something. We'll come on to that. But President Zelensky has been very clear that he wants a spectrum of weapons, not only to help the front line, so rifles and stuff like that, but also to be able to target Russian forces in depth. And that's often many miles behind the front line. Now, the international concern was always about the range of these weapons it gives, because it was worried that Ukraine might try to use them to target targets in Russia. But the longer the war's gone on, the more the West's confidence has increased that Ukraine will stick to its words. And the US particularly initially provided artillery out to 20 miles. Then they provided higher miles that went out to 50 miles. They're now looking at capabilities to go out to 100 miles. They do have some capabilities in the offing which they've denied Ukraine out to 200 miles. But it's pretty clear that the US doesn't want to be seen to be the lead here. It doesn't want to play to the Russian narrative that it's a fight between Russia and America, whereas the UK has been on the forefront of a lot of these decisions. It was the first to provide anti-tank weapons. It was the first to provide tanks, if you remember the Challenger 2s. It was the first to provide pilot training for the Ukrainian pilots. And now it looks likely Rishi Sunak has already said that earlier on this year he was preparing for this. And now this announcement in the House of Commons just puts the icing on the cake.
So they're already there. They are Storm Shadow missiles. For those who aren't up to date on their missile information, what are they? What's their significance? What can they do?
It's one of the weapons that's been generated for a specific target set, which is a non-mobile target that's very difficult and very well protected. It was developed by the UK and France back in the 1990s. It's got a 300-kilometre range, but it's also 1,300 kilograms. It's a massive weapon. It's the weight of a small car. The jets I used to fly, Harriers, we couldn't carry these. They were just too heavy for us. It's got a special warhead, double-part warhead. The first bit blows a hole in its target. The second actually goes through and explodes the target, goes through to 2 to 4 metres of concrete. So it's a very impressive. It flies at low level. It can also avoid radars and stuff like that, and a whole host of electronic warfare capabilities that range into the secret level, so we can't talk about them here. The UK procured 1,000 of these. They've used 98. They used them in a whole range of conflicts, from the Gulf War in 2003, in Libya in 2011, and only last year, Typhoons launched 8 across in Syria very successfully, but at £2 million a pop, you know, they're quite expensive. The reality here, these are 25 years old though, and the reality is that the UK is looking to upgrade them, but it won't upgrade all the 902 that are available. So we actually have a whole load of our stockpile that is available for either disposal or use, and the Ukrainians now need something. So it's a marriage made in heaven in a way.
OK, and we keep talking about the spring offensive, drawing ever closer, the next phase of this war. How long before we may see these missiles used in Ukraine?
When I first heard the news this morning about the announcement, I thought there's no way that Ben Wallace will be able to say, right, we're going to do it, and they suddenly appear, because getting these weapons cleared to fly on aircraft is very difficult. They're very heavy, and let's not forget the flankers and the fulcrums that the Ukrainians fly are Russian aircraft. So literally getting the aircraft to talk to the bomb, it does it digitally, electronically, but it's a completely different language. So getting those, it normally takes months, if not years, under the UOR process, urgent operational requirements. They've done this in weeks. But in parallel, clearly there's been a lot of diplomatic effort with the US to make sure that the US and our international colleagues are comfortable with giving the Ukrainians a 300-kilometre weapon. But as you say, these weapons are in there now. And the key message here is any Russian soldier, any Russian tank that's anywhere in Ukraine is now within range of these weapons.